I have to help myself first. And I'm not saying that in a selfish, self-centered way. I'm
Mhm.
saying it in a self-caring way. Because if I don't help myself and put myself number one, I really can't be there for other people. Or I can't be there with integrity
Ah,
for other people. Doesn't mean I'm perfect, but I'm looking at myself and I'm putting in the work to make the changes that I need to make for me to become a better person and to live within my value system.
welcome to the First Responder Families podcast, sponsored by Shatterproof at FHE Health, a nationally recognized behavioral health provider. I am your host, Ivana Bada, a director of family services at FHE Health and a family, couples, and trauma therapist. Join me for meaningful conversations and talks that support wellness and mental health of first responders and their families. Welcome, listeners of First Responder Families podcast. We are going to talk about recovery with a special guest, an expert on recovery, Michael Herbert. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you and for inviting me, Ivana. It's good to be here. Let me take my glasses off. I can't see without them, but I don't like how I look with them on. So I'm gonna go through this podcast blurry. At least my vision will be blurry, but at least I'll feel good about how I look.
Yeah, but your voice is powerful. It's strong. I always loved your voice. For listeners, I want you to know that you are here for a special treat with Michael. Michael is an author of the Recovery Roadmap, a guide to freedom and adventure. He's a recovery strategist, counselor, family counselor, and interventionist with 35 years of experience. He's a
Mhm.
military veteran, a world traveler, beekeeper, runner, mountain climber, and most recently, a daily yoga practitioner.
Mhm.
He's dedicated to helping individuals and families create lives rooted in integrity and lasting change. And Michael, you are on a lifelong quest to,
I
uh,
absolutely am.
yeah.
Mhm.
And you are
Yeah.
my friend, and I'm very honored to call myself your friend.
Mhm.
You have been my
Mhm.
mentor and go-to person when I am in trouble. So welcome, Michael.
Thanks for having me. I want to say one thing. You talked about me helping people, and one of the things that I've realized, recently, or I'm going to acknowledge openly, is that I have to help myself first. And I'm not saying that in a selfish, self-centered way. I'm
Mhm.
saying it in a self-caring way. Because if I don't help myself and put myself number one, I really can't be there for other people. Or I can't be there with integrity
Ah,
for other people. Doesn't mean I'm perfect, but I'm looking at myself and I'm putting in the work to make the changes that I need to make for me to become a better person and to live within my value system.
beautiful.
Along the lines with, you know, I'm not a religious person, but I engage, practice, participate in spiritual principles.
Mhm. Yeah. It reminds me of saying you cannot give people what you don't have.
No, you can't give them what you don't have, although you can fake it till you make it.
Mhm.
In that, listen, I've worked with people that are working on the same things I'm working on.
Mhm.
It's
Parallel.
it's kind of even. But
Mhm.
I've also worked with people who are a few steps further than me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I can still help them I can also acknowledge with them, my understanding of that is limited,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and but we can still work together and find a solution, because if I believe, and I do believe, that everyone, most people, I'm going to say most people, not everyone, do have the answers within them. So if you're severely mentally ill, maybe that might get in the way of those answers. But
Mm-hmm.
in general, people have the answers within them. And my job on some level is to help them achieve the goals that they set for themselves and remove the blocks that get in the way of them seeing what they need to see.
Michael, you are just speaking my language. I really have the same philosophy, and I feel like I have gone with clients and even groups of clients further by just finding out what they want for themselves and identifying those obstacles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, because I can't, listen, I can certainly tell somebody what to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know that I'm being that respectful in
Mm-hmm.
their process, because oftentimes, I don't know that often, but there are times that people aren't ready
Mm-hmm.
to maybe do what I think they should do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just give you an example. So I'm in recovery myself, and I've been in recovery now for 36 years. When I first got into recovery, they told me to get a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the meetings, I completed rehab. I went to the meetings. I was a coffee maker, but I resisted the sponsorship. Oh, no, you got to get a sponsor, blah, 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 blah. Later on in my recovery, I realized my resistance was because I saw a sponsor like a father.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have a good relationship with my father, and I certainly wasn't going to hire somebody, ask somebody to tell me what to do in my recovery. So I literally refused sponsorship. I didn't get a sponsor until I had 2 years in recovery.
Oh.
And there's something on some level disrespectful when people told me I had to do it, and if you don't do it, you'll relapse. Well, I knew plenty of people who had sponsors that relapsed. How is it for me? And it wasn't until I came to believe, like they say in the second step, that a sponsor could help me, did I get one. So going to meetings for me and fellowshipping and making coffee and doing all that stuff worked for a period of time until it didn't work. And then I knew that I needed something more. So I engaged with the sponsorship and I got a sponsor. But in the beginning, I wasn't ready for a sponsor. And I think one of the things that hinders people, so people in recovery get it, but people who are not in recovery and are thinking about recovery or are encouraged to get into recovery are turned off by the information that they're getting sometimes by people in recovery. You got to go to a meeting every day. You got to get a sponsor. You got to do this. You got to do that. And they're like, I don't want to I'm not ready to do all that. That doesn't sound engaging or fun, for a lack of a better word. Even though this person is in a lot of pain, are there other ways that we can engage people in the recovery process without throwing and here's how people look at it, the rules at them? I
Mm-hmm.
know they're only suggestions, but when you're not in recovery, you feel like they're mandates or rules.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the numbers of, I don't know, there's 60 million addicts, alcoholics in the United States, but only 10% wind up in recovery. Well, why is that? Is there something that's not appealing
Mm-hmm.
to the person who's using that would get them in recovery? Now, when you get in recovery, you get it. But prior to getting there, you don't get it. And oftentimes people in recovery are looking, they're inside recovery, expecting the people on the outside to get what they didn't get prior to them coming into recovery.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a challenge. It's almost like rehabs. Here's a good way the rehabs get people. They have a nice website. The website looks beautiful. They've got a big swimming pool. Everything looks great. You get to the rehab and the swimming pool's really small. But there was some appeal around the way that it looked that got people in. And I think people in recovery might want to look at how can we make this more appealing? Got it. I got my life together. I have a car. I have a job. I have money in the bank. My bills are paid. Somebody seeing that, like, wow, I'd like to do that. Oh, but I got to do all of that other stuff before I get that. That's hard work. It's just kind of like what happens to people January 1st. Everybody wants to get in the gym and get their bodies together,
Mm-hmm.
but they lose the will to do it, after a week or so. So I'm just saying, how can we make this process a little more appealing to the people who don't know what recovery is?
But you wrote it in the book in
Hmm.
a way,
Yeah.
and you reminded the readers that recovery is not only about stopping something like destructive behavior, it is also about starting something more constructive. And I think
Right.
that
And creating something.
creating, yeah.
Mhm. And oftentimes when you look at it, recovery is getting, I'm getting back something that I lost, right? When I was a child, I used to watch Mutual of Omaha, Wild Kingdom, National Geographics,
Mhm.
PBS, and I watched all of those nature shows.
Mhm.
And I was just totally engaged in nature and safaris and all of this stuff. And I was just a daydreamer about it.
Mhm.
So what recovery, as a 7-year-old, it's not like I can, oh, mom, I'm leaving, I'm going on safari next week. All I could do is dream about it. My active addiction, I couldn't do anything about it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But when I got into recovery, I could remember those dreams, recover those dreams, and turn them into reality. So listen, I've been on safari a few times. I've been out in nature. I went gorilla trekking
Mhm.
once. All of these things that I imagined as a child, I was able to engage in my recovery.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, there were periods in my life that I wasn't that bad, but I still wasn't able to kind of get myself together enough to do those things. Part of it was I was preoccupied with using,
Mhm.
or I just didn't have myself together financially. I couldn't save the money. I couldn't do this. So all I could do is fantasize.
Yeah.
So recovery for your listeners, if you can figure out with some help from others how to achieve abstinence, because the ticket to recovery to get in is abstinence. You got to figure out how to do that. Whether you go to an outpatient program, whether you go to detox, residential, those are probably the easier ways than sitting in your house trying to detox or something else. At least it's medically monitored and you have professionals watching you, because you don't want to die in your apartment or in your house of a seizure because you stopped drinking or taking your pills or something.
Yeah.
So abstinence gets you in the door, and then once you're abstinent, you figure out how to stay stable, you engage in what I call the discovery process,
Mhm.
discover what works, practice that, see if it works. If that doesn't work, practice something else, maintaining your abstinence, along with building a plan for a better life for yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
How would you frame it for folks with mental health issues and the symptoms and unresolved trauma, like in our culture of first responders? How would you encourage them to ask for help if their symptoms are perhaps not so obvious, like with alcoholics and addicts when they have
Well,
consequences?
I think one of the things that's true in most issues with people is find some people that you can relate to, that you can trust.
Hmm.
So there are other first responders that have similar issues and are 2 or 3 steps ahead of you.
Hmm. Hmm.
So talk to some of them. For the veterans, the VA is a great resource to find other veterans who are a few steps ahead and try some of the things that they try. So it's an interesting thing. I'm in the program for the veterans called Hives to Heroes. And so the VA puts together a 9-month training program for veterans
Hmm.
to manage beehives.
Hmm.
But there's also mental health benefits to becoming a beekeeper. It may be an odd way around to get the help. I'll become a beekeeper so I can experience, the vibration from the bees, the physicality of managing beehives, the focus,
Hmm.
um, and all of that to help my mental health. But to ask someone to just go to an agency or go to this therapist might be too much because the stigma attached to mental health. I'm in a Facebook group. It's mental health for Black men. I didn't have any particular reason to join the group, anxiety or depression, but I know I'm not perfect and I have some areas to grow in. I also know that I can be of help to other people. So I joined the group and I'm on the group every week. And it's interesting, maybe there's 15 people in the group. 9 of them, you never see their faces. And
Hmm.
I just find, I don't ask why you don't show your face, but I wonder if that's because of the stigma attached to mental illness. They want the help, but they don't want to be identified as somebody wanting the help. And I think first responders, just like anyone else, particularly men, initially don't want to seem like they need help because it's a sign of weakness or there's a sign of something wrong. And somehow we have to move through that stigma. So even a Facebook group like that is probably a good thing because you don't have to identify yourself, but you can still participate in the process and get some help until you've warmed up to a place where you can show yourself if you decide to.
Yeah, yeah. Michael, that makes sense. It's like taking um, baby step, towards feel feel more openness and feel in peace with self. And part of that is being human.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. And, I always tell people if it takes 5 miles to walk into the desert, it'll take 5 miles to walk out.
Mhm.
So I don't know that you have to rush the process.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying there are not emergencies in mental illness, but most times they're not an emergency. So
Mhm.
you do have some time, but don't take too much time
Mhm.
because these issues get worse over time. They don't get better
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you don't, work on them.
That's the reality. Yeah.
Mhm.
One of the building rock of recovery or building the
Mhm.
foundation for recovery
Yeah.
is what you call perseverance and like keep going and moving, especially when there's a struggle or people feel stuck.
Mhm.
Is it what happened to you as well, that maybe you got stuck in your own recovery process?
Let me tell you, one of the greatest tools for people in recovery, non medical, non advice giving, is meditation. All meditation is asking you to do is nothing. Do nothing, just breathe. When I first started doing meditation, I told myself I can't do it because my mind won't slow down. And I would quit. And I tried again and I would quit. And then I left it alone for years. About 4 years ago, I made a concerted effort to start meditating again. And I started to hear better of what they talked about. They told me it was a meditation practice,
Mhm.
which means I have to practice
Mhm.
over and over and over and over again. Perseverance. I needed to persevere through this. And what I realized, it took me 1,000 meditation sessions to like, oh, now only two or three things pop in my mind while I'm meditating. Not and they don't stay forever. That I can now focus on the breath, or I can bring myself back to the breath. But that came from practice, persevering over and over and over again. I didn't take on initially 30 minutes of meditation. I took on 10 minutes.
Mhm.
And meditation helps us, or helps me, to work through the pain that's happening in life without having to take a medication for it or something else. It helps me to tolerate and get through the pain, because sometimes things are just painful emotionally. And if I can just sit there and tolerate it without acting on it, using meditation, I will get to the other side, because nothing lasts forever.
Wow. This was a great commercial for meditation.
Well,
I love it. I love it.
so maybe we'll get some good clips out of it, and and we can use it. The other thing, Ivana, that I've been, really focused on and talking to people about is opportunity. When opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare.
Nice.
What that means is, listen, opportunity, tragedy are right around the corner. They are going to happen. Are you prepared? Well, when it happens, of course you're not prepared.
Mhm.
So our time right now, here in this moment, is how do we prepare? Because opportunity is going to come. You know, addicts and alcoholics relapse over windfalls of, wife just had a baby. I just got a raise on the job. Good things are happening, and they relapse over because they're not prepared even for the good things,
Mhm.
let alone a death or a sickness. Here's what's true for us all: we're all getting old.
Mhm.
Every minute, every minute that goes by, we are running out of some time.
Mhm.
And how do we prepare ourselves? I mean, I'm 66. How do I prepare myself for 70 and 80?
Mhm.
Well, I'm doing my meditation, I'm doing my yoga, I work out, I do my best to eat better. My workouts are pretty intense, where the oxygen is flowing in my brain, and I get that natural feel good. I practice fasting here and there to kind of reset my body. I have no idea what the future holds.
Mhm.
I don't know that I know exactly how to prepare, but I do know this body has to last a lifetime.
Mhm.
So I've got to, at the very least, keep this vessel
Mhm.
running. I can't borrow, hey, Ivana, can you loan me some of your health? I'm not feeling so well. I can borrow money from you, but I can't borrow health from you. So it's my job to manage and keep my health going. And this is kind of the expanded definition of recovery. So I'm not talking about going to a meeting or going to therapy or talking to your sponsor. I'm talking about how are you going to keep this body moving and going. And if all you can do is walk, that's what you need to do. You don't have to, lifting weights and CrossFit and this, that, and the other. Just walk. But you're responsible for your body and your recovery. And we need to recover in the area of physical health, not only mental and emotional, but physical. And physical to me is really aligned with the spiritual part also. So if you can get the right, what you might think is right, physical stuff going, it's going to positively affect the spiritual.
Mhm. I'm taking it in here because you mentioned the word vessel, right?
Mhm.
Like if the vessel is strong and healthy, then really great insights and there's going to be a space internally where you you will go beyond just everyday stress or indulgences. You will find the, I would say, soul, spirit, spiritual self.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, I mean I exercise regularly. It's really important to me, and it's not second, it's a priority. So I don't give up my workout because somebody called me and wants me to do X, Y, and Z. No, this is what I'm doing from 9 to 10. And you know what I mean? I don't call in, I don't go to work late because it's a priority for me to be there because I want to get a paycheck.
Mhm.
I want a paycheck from my exercise. And if I don't do my exercise, I don't get the physical paycheck. So it is a priority for me. I've also learned that group fitness helps me emotionally and spiritually, not just physically. If I can engage with a group of people rather than going to the gym on my own and lifting weights, it has a profound effect on me, that group process. And I'm a practical person. So I'm not going to sit here, Ivana, and give you all these theories about attachment and this, that, and the other, because I don't know all of that stuff. But this is something I do know, and it has worked for me. And from what I can see, because I engage with other people in groups, it works for them.
Mhm.
Nobody has to do this stuff alone in any area of it. I have climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, but I've always gone with a group to support me up that mountain.
Yeah, yeah. So there are some universal truth and there are some one of a kind or unique approach to recovery
Mhm.
because we are not supposed to do this alone, and yet everyone's recovery or where they are supposed to start new will look differently.
It will look differently, but I will say there are times in recovery that solitude and alone are what needs to happen because I can't always bring people with me in my process.
Mhm.
Not everyone will even support
Mhm.
my ideas. Oh, Michael, you're wasting your money. I wouldn't spend my time doing that. Well, of course you wouldn't because you're not interested in it. So I can't hang out with people um, who aren't interested in mountain climbing because they're interested in, I don't know, other things. I didn't understand that I was interested in permaculture until I took a permaculture course.
Mhm. Mm.
And I took that course on my own with a group of people that were there. I didn't know any of them. And I took the course. You know, another thing that I say, you got to try 1,000 things to find the five that really work for you.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes you have to move away from the crowd to find those things.
Mhm.
I'm not downing anyone who hangs out with the crowd and has to be with the crowd, this, that, and the other. But I'm not alone in the process of doing things a little more independently. I had just written a piece on being single and happy.
Mhm.
Not everybody is married and happy. You know, they get the four groups of people: married and happy, unhappily married,
Mhm.
single and happy, and single and unhappy. I fit in the single and happy group.
Mhm.
And I do the needs that do the things that I need to do to remain happy and satisfied within that group of people. And so as an individual, part of what I do is I engage with groups of people because I am single to get my needs met that I might get from having a partner or something. You know, I talk to strangers. I have the ability to focus on work and other activities and engage in what I want to do because I am single and I don't have to think about somebody what they might want to do or not want to do in this. So for me, I figured out a way to be single and happy, even though there's pressure in the world. Oh, Michael, you got to partner up with somebody.
Mhm.
Well, but what if that doesn't work for me?
Yeah, and you were talking about the power of choice, right? Like
Yeah.
once you make sure that this is what you are choosing for yourself,
Hmm.
then figure out what that group of people you're choosing to be part of do to be happy,
Yeah. Hmm.
which would lead us into um, two groups. If we are just choosing to be happy, we either choose to be happy in a relationship or
Hmm.
choose to be happy single. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
But
Yeah.
let's still those four categories. I'm looking forward to the writing.
Huh?
Yeah.
I know that you're in one of those four, happily married,
Mhm.
and so that's a great thing, you
Lots
know.
of work. But you
It-
write also in the book,
Mhm.
recovery is hard work. And our relationships or the choice we make in our relationships depends on the quality of recovery, and that is our relationship with ourselves.
It's hard work, but it's satisfying work.
Mm.
And along with the hard work, there's some easy stuff that happens in recovery also. So it's not all hard work, it balances it out. We don't always acknowledge the easy work because it's easy.
Mhm.
You know, we just kind of naturally do it. Um, but the easy work is in recovery too, along with the hard work.
Mhm.
So I don't want people to miss the fact that it's not always hard.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, sometimes instinctively you know exactly what to do and you do it.
Mhm.
And there's not much thought, you just do it. There's no struggle. You don't have to call up a million people to find out, is this okay? No, you just do it and it works out.
One of the easiest things about recovery, what I have witnessed being in the places, alcohol, drug rehab, mental health rehabs, is that relief that comes with knowledge that you are not alone.
Hmm.
And for the first responders, it's even like amplified because they see other first responders, and all of a sudden there is this agreement that we can be authentic, we can share our feelings, we can admit struggles, and it's no longer weakness or something to hide.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Or you're not alone in it.
Mhm.
So if I have other people that I can talk to, I don't feel so alone, and I don't have to hide it. But I also don't have to share it with everyone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You don't have to, get on a stage and share with everyone what's going on.
yeah,
You can find your select people and utilize them as your support network to help you get through what you need to get through.
yeah. And
Hmm.
that's good to hear, hopefully for listeners.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
I know that one of the gains of recovery programs or processes or journey is that you build a muscle of trust and self-trust.
Hmm.
What does that mean from your perspective?
Well, the first thing about trust is the only way to trust is to trust. There is a risk in trusting that you have to take in order to get there. There also is a process, I think, of learning to trust yourself. I really truly believe that I started trusting others before I could trust myself. I observed others' consistency,
Hmm.
which helped me become, if they can do it, I can do it. I just kind of watched.
Mhm.
And over time, I got to a place where I could trust myself. And I got to tell you, not with everything, with most things. Again, I'm a work in progress. There's still a lot of work for me to do. I've come a long ways in 36 years, but I still have a long way to go.
Mhm. And that's humility.
That is that. I mean, that's the truth. I'll talk to you about my strength, and then I'll talk to you about my areas that I need to grow in.
Mhm.
And humility is acknowledging both.
Right.
Hmm.
And the wisdom that we are not supposed to be perfect and will never be. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I wound up perfect, there would be no reason to live. I mean, I have no more goals. I'm perfect. Uh,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? It's like sometimes I think about the lottery and winning the lottery,
Uh-huh. Me
and
too.
I think sometimes, oh shit, if I win the lottery, then there's nothing else to work for.
Yeah.
I enjoy working for things. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And winning the lottery would crush that on some level when I first. Now, listen, I'm not going to turn it down if I happen to win it.
Mhm.
But when I do think it through more fully,
Mhm.
winning a lump sum of money like that would take away some of, at least I think it would, maybe my drive to work more.
Mhm. Mhm.
And if we get back to trust, I am actively trusting the process that I'm going to be okay. It'd be nice to win the lottery, but I don't need the lottery to be okay.
Mhm.
I have enough food, enough electricity, enough housing for myself. If I lose my house, it's gonna work out. It's
Mhm.
things. If I lose my job, things are gonna work out.
Mhm.
Hopefully I've done enough work with people, my supports, that people aren't going to let me fall.
No, I would cook for
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. I'd be at your doorstep every day with a with a old Whole Foods bag, picking up my picking up my meals.
Yeah. But what you are sharing with us
Mhm.
is that it's without being religious, it's faith that everything is gonna be okay. You don't have to worry about it.
Mhm. Yeah, and I guess I move away from the religious aspect, and I I I use the word trust because it's equal to faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even when I talk about spiritual principles, for those who are atheists, then align yourself with ethical principles
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because they're similar.
Mm-hmm.
And if the spiritual part is a struggle for you, then let's go with the ethical part.
Yeah. And
And
value
how
system, right?
and how do you live within your value system? Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. It changes everything when you, even in the moment of struggle, when you ask yourself, what really matters?
Mm-hmm.
What matters to me?
Yeah.
I never forget. I mean, there's a lot of words of wisdom you have given me over the years, but one time I was sad about losing one of my jobs, and I was sad about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I never forget what you said. You said, "Of course, you would be sad. It really mattered to you.
Mm-hmm.
You really had heart and soul in it."
Yeah.
It was so validating, and I think I stopped struggled, in that
Yeah.
moment.
And sadness is the right feeling to have. I mean, I
Yeah.
would think there's something wrong with you if you're overjoyed by it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was a good reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to talk. You have this beautiful concept about thinking in recovery about payday. Can you
Mhm.
I never heard it. I read it in your book. I never heard it in that way. What does it mean, Michael, to focus on payday when it comes to recovery?
Well, I mean, it really is a simple concept. It's just like going to work. I show up for work because I want a payday.
Hmm.
But work, maybe it's easier because the payday is I get a paycheck, I get money.
Hmm.
I on some level every Friday I know what I'm going to get.
Hmm.
But in recovery, you have to decide what your payday is going to be. So the payday could be at the end of the week or the end of the day, and if you're doing it a day at a time, it's that I'm abstinent. But what we find out over time is abstinence isn't enough.
Hmm.
So let me increase my paycheck. So my paycheck might be to be able to be more tolerant with my son and daughter because I lose my temper with them,
Hmm.
or to develop a better relationship with them so I do homework with them every week.
Hmm.
Or the payday is maybe losing some weight.
Hmm.
Or the payday is quitting smoking,
Hmm.
going on a date. You know, we have to create our payday.
Hmm.
We set the goal and we work towards the goal. We persevere
Hmm.
to get that paycheck. Now, a job, it's easy, it's a no brainer. I show up for work and they pay me the money. In recovery, what I'm asking the listener is this is something you need to figure out. I can't figure it out for you, and you're responsible for your life and your recovery.
Hmm.
I'm not telling you what to do. They get mad when you tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Well, you do what you do.
Yeah. And
You figure it out.
And who am I, to know exactly what is the most alive in the person's like heart's desire?
Uh-huh.
I may see them in an unhealthy shape, and I may think for myself, oh, they need to start eating healthy, but that may not be what is alive the
Hmm.
most of them.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So this is good talk, Ivana.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if your, I don't know, 20 or 25-year-old version of you is really hearing you now, it's probably inside of you is like rejoicing that this is Michael 35, 40 years later, and it has been a journey, right? The perseverance, keep going,
Hmm.
and there is always a new door opens.
Absolutely. I talk about in one of my posts. You got door number one, door number two, and door number three, and it doesn't matter which door you go through.
Okay.
All of the doors have an opportunity and area to grow in and a place to benefit from. So no matter what door you choose, it's the right one for that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your job is to walk through it.
Yes. Yes. For some people, the abstinence is the foundation. For some
Mhm.
people, it's I don't know if it's a harm reduction or some modifications of their behavior so they can get to the clarity and sober living or
Mhm.
sobriety. We need sobriety to grow. I really
Mhm.
believe it strongly, but it may look differently for different people.
And what I also just want to add to that about the abstinence piece, not everyone who comes into treatment or therapy that was mandated from a job or somebody thinks that they need is an addict or an alcoholic.
Mhm.
They may be an abuser of a substance, and there's a difference in that. But one of the things that would be helpful is if they could get abstinent, maintain abstinence, and then figure out what's real.
Mhm.
And it's hard if I, am taking Adderall and smoking pot and drinking to give up the Adderall and continue to drink and try to figure it out while I'm smoking pot. Give it all up for a period of time,
Mhm.
do a fasting period on your drug use, just have it a fast for, a couple of weeks or 90 days or whatever,
Mhm.
and get with a professional to figure it out. Maybe you don't have a substance use disorder.
Mhm.
Maybe you're not an addict. Maybe you're just an abuser and you need it to slow down, but you're not going to find out. I don't think you're really going to find out unless you're abstinent. You also are not going to get a true sense of if you're anxious or depressed as a result of the drug use or not doing the drugs, or if you are truly an anxious or depressed person. So your mental illness requires, I mean, for some people, most people, a period of abstinence to figure it out.
Mhm. I love that. I love,
Yeah.
and also
Hmm.
humans like challenges, so it can be
Yeah.
kind of like a 60-day challenge.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Michael, what I can say is that I would love to have you back, and we may focus also on family aspect because you
Okay.
have a lot of experience with the families and
Hmm.
guided them to be effective helpers to
Hmm.
deal with challenges with substance use disorders. But for
Hmm.
now, I wanted to thank you. I'm very grateful for your time
Okay.
and
Hey,
the
can
impact.
I can I just let people know that they can find me on Instagram
Please.
at Coach Michael Herbert and also on TikTok. I have a Facebook page called Recovery Guide, and my book is the Recovery Roadmap: A Guide to Freedom and Adventure, and that can be found on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. And just a little ask, if you do get the book, the Kindle version is $2.99 and the paperbacks is $16.99. It'd be nice if you wrote a review.
Yeah, Michael, and also I want to say something about this book. It's a tiny book, but it has a big, big message. And
Big, huge message.
yeah,
Huge message. Yeah.
I will be coming back there for inspiration for my personal and professional life. Thank you so
Hmm.
much for coming on and share your ideas and experience. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in. The First Responder Families podcast is sponsored by Shadowproof at FHE Health, a specialized treatment program for first responders with mental health and or substance use issues. For more information about our show and our services, check out fhehealth.com. The podcast website also has a place where you can share your ideas or questions for future shows. If you are struggling, we want to help. Feel free to call us at 844-714-3403 or visit FHEHealth.com. We look forward to having you join us for our podcast next month. Until then, take care.